Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Join with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu. Here we're going to do the first 5 episodes of the latest Disney Plus Star Wars series, Ahsoka. Starring Rosario Dawson. A bunch of people that, truth be told, I'm really not familiar with. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Is in it, for sure.
Natasha Lou Berdizzo, I think, or something like that is her name, who plays Sabine. You know, Clancy Brown's in there for a cameo.
Clancy Brown, whose appearance in every show is punctuated in my house by me yelling at the screen, Clancy Brown!
Yeah. He's playing the same character he played in Star Wars Rebels.
That's fine.
But this picks up like 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi, where Ahsoka begins whisperings of the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. This show is absolutely a sequel to Star Wars Rebels. So if you didn't watch that, I'll be curious to hear, how lost you are.
And it makes very little effort to catch you up.
See,
too.
I disagree with that, but we'll get into that in a moment. But what do we think so far?
Well, first of all, last week I almost talked about this because I was so passionate about it. I've checked my math, and my math is a little off, but I still think it's worth mentioning. Why is Sabine like 22 years old?
Yeah, she should be a bit older.
She should be like she should be Luke's age.
Yeah.
And, the soulless golem that is Luke when he shows up looks a bit older than her. There's this thing, I may have mentioned this before, in Marvel Comics, if you wrote in with a continuity error, if you then solved the continuity error, you got what was called a no prize. So I'm going to go for my no prize here. I think that the Mandalorians have a bitchin' skincare system inside that helmet.
Keeps them looking young.
Like it gently exfoliates their shit. Yeah, moisturize. Now, the flaw in this is, why does fucking Pedro Pascal look so craggy?
Yeah.
I guess he just doesn't use it.
To your point, Bo-Katan has been the same age for 30 years now.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's a fair critique.
No prize now just for solving the Pedro Pascal issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is legitimate. My father-in-law's had a mustache for, as far as I know, his entire life.
Right.
And a couple of years ago, he shaved it to the dismay of his entire family. It looked fine, but it was just unusual for them.
Right.
But his skin just above his lip was like noticeably like 20 years younger than the rest of his skin. So I think that's like legitimate.
I have something to look forward to. Joseph, what do you think?
Look, it's fine. It's a show that exists. It passes the time. It did nothing for me. I was trying to figure out if, like you say, I think there is a lot of Star Wars Rebels stuff. I know, I've seen the first, 3 episodes of that show. I basically know who the people are, though I can only, half remember it. And I was trying to decide if, knowing who these people were and, how they fit into the greater scope of the story would enrich my experience. And what I came to is probably no. But we're going to find out. We'll talk about it more.
Well, I think the answer is no, because all of those characters are not main players in the main story up to this point.
Right.
I think Rebels is here's a great story about these 5 or 6 people. You don't really know what happens to them because they're not in any of the movies. Now we're getting what makes them important. So I think to the point you're making, no, they're not important. They haven't been so far.
Yeah.
Bert, what do you think?
I mean, I think of all of them, I think you could have stood to know a little bit more of Sabine's backstory.
Yes.
I think Hera and, of course, Chopper and the kid and stuff, you're given enough. Particularly for the role they've played in this so far. But, obviously Sabine ties in with a lot of stuff that has went on in Mandalorian. So, I don't know. I feel like, nobody wants to get bogged down in exposition, but some reference to that probably could have been helpful to why this girl's important.
Yeah. Do you like the show so far?
I like the show so far, yeah. For the first few episodes, that Sabine's too young thing was a real stickler for me. My comic book guy voice just kept going, otherwise she's so young. But once I went, because I had thought that Rebels was 10 years before Star Wars, but it's only 5. So once I figured that out, I was able to enjoy it a little more. But yeah, overall, I think this is a fun show.
Yeah, I think this show is really fun. I think it's the closest thing, you said this when we talked about it, it's very Star Warsy.
The opening to it tries very much, we want the beginning of this movie to look like a Star Wars movie,
sure.
and I think they succeeded.
The opening sequence, especially, I feel like.
One of the things that I like most about The Last Jedi in the sequel trilogy is it's the only one that embraces that the prequels existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Force Awakens and Tross just pretend they never happened.
Yeah.
This one And like the Mandalorian, kind of like you might see like a droid in the background of a scene.
Right.
This looks like it takes place in the same universe
Right.
that the
Right.
prequels happened in.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Right.
Like obviously that's where Dave Filoni spent most of his time is during the prequels and just after, and this embraces that. It just feels the most like 2008 to 2010 Clone Wars right after Revenge of the Sith Star Wars,
Right.
which I like.
I love, yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it pays homage to Last Jedi and kind of its message of like the Force is for everybody.
Oh,
because
we'll get to that.
I'm
This
sure
is-
we
yeah.
will. But I do think that there is Last Jedi is the one in the sequel trilogy it's most closely adhering to.
Yeah, which is funny because online it's pretty universally like
Yeah.
liked among people, but that's the most controversial movie.
Mm.
The only asterisk to that of people liking it online is there's this section of the fandom that thinks all Star Wars should be Andor, and I vehemently disagree with that opinion.
100%.
But yeah, it's just pretty good. It's better than Transformers so far. I'm excited to see where it finishes up, but we should talk spoilers.
Yeah, if we wanted to do episode by episode, it was a blur for me because it happened in a sequence, so I don't even know when one episode started and ended.
I can kind of do it.
Lead us on that.
I would say 1 and 2 together.
So, well, here's the thing. I don't agree because I think 1 is the worst one, which is crazy. I think it's an awful one to lead off on. I think it's the most generically intro like to character episode, and also like I don't even know if it's the worst written. I don't think like the writing in the show is really like on and off for me.
Right.
Like some scenes feel very Star Warsy, some scenes feel like very modern internet television scenes.
Right.
But it's more like the pacing in the first episode is so like slow. I feel like if I watched it at 2 times the speed, it would be okay. But there's just like so much space between every single time anyone talks for no reason.
I will say, me and Sarah were saying the exact same thing. I was telling her about George Lucas's, one direction he always gives for the second take is, okay, faster, more intense.
Yeah.
And everybody makes fun of that. But these people needed somebody to say faster, more intense to them.
100%.
Yeah.
I do think also, even though most of these are short episodes, I remember specifically, I think number 3 felt really long. I was like, are we sure this isn't like an hour and a half?
I
Like,
think that was the shortest one.
Yeah, it was
I
like
know.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, I think also applies to the second one. I hate the first 2 episodes of this show.
The second one I like because the second one's got like the Law and Order bit where they're like
Yeah.
reviewing the old Imperial shipyard thing. Right?
Right.
I like that as a construct of the episode.
Right.
I think that's pretty like Law and Order in Star Wars. I
Right.
like that.
See, I like the first 10 minutes of this show.
Mhm.
I like Ahsoka going through the ruin. It's very much Jedi, Fallen Order, and Survivor. Like the Force powers, the look, everything about it is ripped from that
100%.
video game. I really dug that bit. And then the first 2 episodes of this show are, hey, we know you probably didn't watch Rebels, so let's recap the entire last season. And listen, that's a fine thing to do. It's not my fault you didn't watch the
Right.
best Star Wars thing.
Right.
Like, it's the best Star Wars thing. You should watch it. If you don't want to watch it, I shouldn't have to sit through 90 minutes of slog to get you caught up, which is what that is.
Disagree. I shouldn't have to do my fucking homework to watch this
See,
show.
one of my
It's good homework. You would enjoy it.
one of my complaints about this show, because I'm someone who watched all of that, but even that I was like, wait, Hera had a fucking kid? I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah, Jason's only in half a second of
Right.
Rebels.
But-
He's fucking terrifying.
But I think this show needed another character who was, what the fuck's going on, guy?
Yeah.
Someone that everyone could do their exposition at, so it didn't feel like exposition.
Yeah.
I like your idea of the what the fuck's going on now. Not because he serves like a narrative purpose, but just because he has like dynamics in his voice, which nobody else in this entire fucking cast has.
I think it's a good thing to hit on is cast a little bit here.
I know this is an important one for you, Christian, because Ahsoka is a
Dude,
deeply beloved character for
fucking
you.
pinnacle. Rosario is the worst one.
Wow.
Yeah. I think if you like Rebels, you like Sabine because I don't know if imitation is good acting,
Mhm.
but she has nailed Sabine from the show.
I mean, I would agree that she's the most, I'm just doing what that
Yes.
character was on the
I don't
show.
know if that's good acting, but it feels the most natural.
I feel like Ahsoka, she's trying to go for a more mature Ahsoka, a more subdued Ahsoka. And I think that's fine. I think that's good. I think she could be a little better at the lightsaber slinging.
Yeah,
I think it looks kind of like I'm doing it sometimes.
I want to talk about that because there's like various levels of selling it. I think in this show for sure with the lightsaber fights. Yeah, I mean, I look. I don't have the same general distaste for Rosario Dawson that you do. I just feel like I mean, kind of what you were talking about earlier. I think everybody's just too understated in this show.
Right.
I agree that that's like what she's going for. She's just kind of like the older, more mature, kind of like cooler version of that character.
Right.
But like everyone's a little too cool. Like even when they do like quote unquote jokes, and there are not a lot of jokes in it at all, but they all like deliver their jokes like they think they're too cool for it to be funny.
Right.
And it's just like there's no fun, there's no funny, and that's not saying it like has to be all that, but there's just like none of it.
Nobody's ever saying to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters. Like I need a line to be delivered like that.
I've never missed Luke more than I have in it. Like that very whiny like teenager energy. Right. Like it seems annoying at the time, but now I'm like, oh yeah, you like really do need that.
And I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I had really low expectations for her, and she's been fine as Hera. Like she hasn't done anything to make me upset.
I'm not really sure why she's there, but she, sure.
If you guys remember when we used to do the Instagram fan casting, I cast Sabine as Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Wow.
Not too far off.
So I was close.
Yeah. Yeah. The standouts to me are fucking Ray Winstead. That dude is, I think, great as Balin Skull. And I don't know the girls.
Ray Stevenson.
Stevenson, yeah.
I know
Stevenson.
Ray Winstone
is another person.
Yeah.
He's great as Balin
He's so
Skull.
good.
Yeah.
He's so good, and he's so intimidating looking. And it's so sad that dude passed on. Because I would love to see more of this guy.
Yeah.
You hear about even like selling the lightsaber movements. His is like so like I'm just better than you.
Yeah, I mean he's number 2 in the show to me.
Right.
He's really, really good, and I think the girl who plays Shin-Ti is good. I don't know anything about her, but
it was one of those things where I didn't like it at first because at first I thought she's doing a lot of the Elizabeth Olsen Scarlet Witch. Like that's like her whole energy, her whole vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But once we kind of get her relationship with what's the
Balin,
yeah. Like you get the idea that she's kind of a young tryhard, and she's just like trying to impress, and try to like show off, like, no, look how Sithy I am.
See, I think you brought up a good point there. I don't think Balin's a Sith. I think she is.
Yeah.
For him, it's like he's a Jedi. There's a term in Heir of the Empire called Dark Jedis before Sith exists.
Right.
He's a Dark Jedi.
Yeah.
She wants the power.
Right. Sure. Like she's thirsty for it.
We're gonna come. I think we're gonna circle back around to that as we get later in the episodes. But I was anti Sabine and Shin-Ti at the beginning, and now I'm just anti Sabine.
I don't even know if I have my own emotions about Shin-Ti because Sarah hates her so much. Like that white trash Fantastic Sam's hairdo she has just immediately made an enemy of Sarah, and I'm right along with it.
I think you're supposed to kind of hate.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was nervous after the first 2 episodes. I was just like, okay, this is fine. Like I understand that second episode ends. That ending is the end of Rebels,
right?
And which is Ahsoka and Sabine going to find Ezra, and Hera and Jason separately going to maybe meet up with them. Like that's literally the last shot you see of those 4 characters.
Right.
And then you get to episode 3, which is mostly just Ahsoka training Sabine. I love this episode. This is the most Clone Wars thing we've gotten in years. Right. That is a live action Clone Wars episode.
Now I think about it, it's episode 4 that I thought was the long one. 3 I liked. 3 was because the training is good. It seems like, I know that can't be what they're going for, but it really seems like Ahsoka's pissing in the wind. It seems like, she just does not have a knack for this shit, but maybe I'm reading the wrong
it's
thing.
what he's talking about. It's The Last Jedi. Yeah. I mean, they talk about in Last Jedi, Luke talks about how the Jedi withheld the Force, and people just access it at different times. Even going to Force Awakens, fucking what's his butt? Snoke says, there's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Right.
Like maybe Rey didn't have the Force before then, or Finn.
Right.
Like that the Force can come to you. Like I think those are very sequel trilogy things that they're kind of exploring through the character of Sabine here. Which, by the way, Jon Favreau revealed like 3 years ago. There's an interview in Mandalorian season 1, and someone was like, "Hey, there's not been many Mandalorian Jedi," and Jon Favreau was like, "Well, Sabine."
Also, it seems reasonable to me that the whole Jedi process is kind of steeped in kind of the rules and traditions, and I feel like if the Jedi practice is check to see if somebody can use the Force, so they can't chuck them,
Right.
as opposed to somebody's like, okay, you can't use it right now, well, let's try a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody was going to do that, it would be Ahsoka.
I feel like if you're going for that, though, the Force could kind of be like basketball.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think that's what they're going for.
some people get to be in the NBA, and some people play horse in their backyard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to address why she would choose to do Sabine over, say, Jason, who's very clearly forced?
Clearly, like.
But I also think there's a natural excuse, which is Hera had a husband who was a Jedi and sacrificed himself and died.
Right.
And she had an adopted son who sacrificed himself and maybe also died.
Right.
And so why would she want that for her other kid?
Right.
Hey, can we talk about Hera for a second?
Yep.
How does she put that fucking hat on?
She always has it on. I don't think they've ever animated her without it.
Well, I'm trying to go episode by episode, but I'm going to jump ahead for one point.
I'm not kidding. This is important. Do you put like one tail in at a time and then pull it all the way
I
up?
think that's exactly right. Like your
Because there's no
pants.
strap in the back.
Yeah.
When they show that one scene of Ahsoka laying down
Yes.
later, I think
Terrifying.
that's totally just to say, hey, these girls aren't just wearing hats. And they're totally just wearing hats. It's just, those ears are just hats. They're very obviously just hats.
Yeah.
I
I didn't
say,
like that bit.
I feel like the actual like prosthetics of the tails, the head tails, look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they did a good job in this one. Much better than Mando season 2.
I can't imagine how much fucking work it was to put that makeup on every time, but
Yeah.
it looks good.
Yeah. What we haven't fucking talked about is David Tennant as my boy Hugh Yang. bro.
That's pretty great.
So is that a Rebels character or is that a new character?
No, that's from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
There's
know.
like a multi-episode arc where Ahsoka and Yoda take like 4 or 5 younglings to what is the name of the fucking planet? It's the ice planet, and they
the lightsaber one where they get the
Yep.
crystals. Yeah.
Yep. After that, they are on their ship on the way back, and the ship's attacked by separatists.
Hmm.
And Hugh Yang is teaching them how to build lightsabers.
Right.
Gotcha.
And David Tennant voices him there as well. And I don't know. I just think he's fucking awesome.
I'm almost positive they brought him back just because, hey, can we get Tennant to do this? He said yes. Okay, write him in.
Yeah.
Like that was very much, people like this guy and we like this guy. Let's get him in here.
Dude's about to be Doctor Who again.
Right.
And we got this. I mean, it's a good 6 months to be David Tennant, I'd say. And that brings us to episode 4, which is there's a map. Got it. There's so much in these last 2 episodes I want to talk about, but there's a map. Balin's got it. Ahsoka and Sabine got to catch up to him. There's lots of lightsaber fights.
Right.
Guys, y'all know, it's not a secret. I'm a pretty big fan of the Disney Treasure Planet movie.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the fucking map from
It
Treasure
is.
Planet.
You're right. It fucking is.
This show is now my favorite thing ever. Purely because of that.
Treasure Planet is a good movie, but I did not remember that. That's great.
He has a little. It looks fucking
They
identical.
could be in the same universe.
Yeah. Why can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot more to say, but y'all go first.
I don't. You can keep going.
Well, I remember the space fights in this felt slow to me.
Mm.
The lightsaber fights were good, but the space fights were just like, am I tired or is this dragging on? It could have been both.
I really liked this episode. I think it's paced pretty well.
Right.
The fights are kind of a little slow, especially the Ahsoka Balin fight. There's
Right.
a lot of monologue.
I don't understand why they have Ahsoka climbing on shit all the time during the fight. I don't know, I don't know what that adds to,
Yeah.
but that seems to be like her style for some reason.
I mean, I guess on Clone Wars she was very Spider-Man-y. She was jumping from platform to platform, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like Rosario's got the athleticism to sell that.
No.
right. And also, I mean, I think it's pretty canonical that as a Jedi you become less flippy in your old age.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was all about them flips, and then by Star Wars he's just holding that lightsaber with 2 hands.
Yoda got very flippy.
Yeah.
I think this episode really shows off how good of a fucking character Balin is.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Order knew Anakin Skywalker and all this is a great bit.
Right.
And I think this is I agree that I don't think Sabine was great in the first couple episodes. Again, I think she really nails that character. I think she is good in this one at this episode. I like that interaction.
Right.
I like her being torn.
I was about to say, I think it's the best of the episodes we've seen so far.
Mm.
I'm still not going to go as far as saying good, but it's the best that she's shown us.
That's fair enough.
The one thing I really like about it, though, and it's something I've always I like the idea of anyway. And I know you're saying he's like a dark Jedi instead of the Sith, but we've kind of established in the show that Balin's got kind of like the sight, like some kind of foresight, prediction-ish kind of ability.
Right.
I like the idea because at the end of it, he's talking to Sabine and kind of like walking her over to his side. And I like the idea that being a Sith makes you like a better empath. Like he's able to understand what she's feeling better and like able to obviously like feed into that to get what he wants out of it.
Right.
Because like that's their whole thing is like instead of like controlling and pulling away from the emotions, they like lean into it and they really feel it. It's the idea that he can like I can really feel what you're feeling and I know how to make you feel better. I love that. And I'm like honestly, he's not telling lies over there. If they destroyed that thing, they may never try to go find Ezra again. So.
Right. No, I think it's great. I think what else is interesting about that point is he says, you're not like your master, and she's like, more than you know. Like, absolutely, Anakin and Ahsoka in the Clone Wars and, in the prequel films absolutely made decisions based off their emotions.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's what makes them not great Jedi.
Right.
And Sabine doing the same thing falls perfectly in line with that. Like, I think that whole bit is pretty good between everybody. But we didn't talk about the most curious thing in all of this. Fucking Merrick and all the theories people had about that fucking
Right, yeah. My favorite theory I've heard is that he's the smoke monster from Lost.
I mean, that's what I assumed when I saw it happen. So,
yeah, I definitely think he's just like Dathomir or Night Sister magic.
Right.
But in this, I want to talk more about this when we get in the next episode. This show is just Lord of the Rings. We all understand that, right? Like the plot of this show is Lord of the Rings.
It's definitely very fantasy epic-y, yes.
Jehu, they're going on a search where the bad guy lives, and they use it in a giant gold ring.
Fair.
Instead of when someone said, why don't, this is skipping to the end of the next episode, but someone said, why don't they just fly the Eagles to Mountain Dew? Well, they're just going to ride the whales to Mountain Dew. It's Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White. It's just Lord of the Rings.
I mean, she does suddenly, she's just, after she comes, again, this is skipping ahead, she is just wearing a white robe. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Also, space whales. What is this, a crossover episode?
Purgles, bro.
Yeah.
The dumbest episode of Rebels becomes the most important episode of Rebels. But, I don't even remember how I got on this. Oh, Merrick. This is the first time I was like, wait a minute, is he just doing fucking Lord of the Rings? Because that is exactly how the Witch King of Angmar dies.
I mean, because, I think that's probably the most reasonable theory for them is they're like Jedi spirits that the Dathomir Night Sisters have brought back and animated as this. So that would fit with that. Yeah.
And then and of course the episode ends. She's in the world between worlds. We don't know how she got there. And we hear hey snips and she turns around and it's fucking Anakin Skywalker.
Yep. Let me just say something first. I don't know when it happened, but at some point my emotions got really broken to where I can't feel real things in real life. But something like hearing him say, hey, Snips, I got overclimped. I was like,
I have the same problem, Bert. I understand. I don't know what's wrong with this.
I don't either, man. I mean, I know what happened to me. Ronald Reagan changed the regulation on how toys could be advertised to me as a child and broke my fucking brain. But they had tried to fix that shit by the time you guys come on. So I don't know what happened to you.
Yeah, Hey Sniff's bit is great. You know what's about to happen. And then the episode ends, but it's Darth Vader's theme that plays. Which really, like, when we said last week we were waiting a week to talk about it, that hurt me because I was like, I have to talk about this one moment in this show. But that brings us to episode 5, which is essentially Anakin and Ahsoka in the world between worlds, kind of going through flashbacks into the Clone Wars and things like that. I think this episode fucking rocks.
It's pure fan service.
I totally disagree.
I also think it was really fucking good, and I actually didn't feel like there was enough fan service.
Yeah.
I felt like I would have liked more reunion. Like, I felt like the optimist in me makes me think, okay, well, they're holding it off for something else. Pessimist in me is like, they want to leave the lanes open in case they got to retcon some shit later. They don't want to say too much specific stuff between these two. But overall, I really loved it.
Yeah, I don't think it's fan service at all. And I think a lot of people are like, well, we don't know what the point is. Like, it doesn't tell us what the point. Like, what did she learn while she was in there? And there's a line that Anakin says, very simply, he kind of like snips. It's like, is that what this is about? And it feels like it's a rebuttal to what she's saying in that moment. But I think that's him admitting what it actually is all about, which is that Ahsoka has never forgiven herself for the role she plays in Anakin's turn to the dark side. She thinks if she had stayed a part of the Jedi Order, that it all would have been fine.
And by the way, I like to think that too. Because If you really just look at the movies themselves, Anakin's turn to the dark side is pretty weak reasoning. Essentially, he's worried his wife is going to die and he didn't get a promotion he really wanted. That's it. Like, his mistrust of the Jedi Council makes so much more sense and has so much more depth because of how they treated Ahsoka. So, I thought that resonated pretty well for me.
It's not entirely wrong.
Right.
That if Ahsoka had stayed a part of the Jedi Order, that Anakin probably wouldn't have turned to the dark
Right.
side. Maybe he would have chose to leave the Order,
Right.
but he wouldn't have done it. So she has to address that and forgive herself and move on from it. And again, going back to the point you made earlier, this is the whole fucking point of The Last Jedi. And Yoda and Luke are sitting there and the books are burning and Luke's all like, it's their fault. They got clouded by the war. It allowed Palpatine to rise to power. And Yoda's just basically like, you got to move on. You got to let the past just be the past.
Right.
Failure is not the end. It's just a lesson. And that's just re-emphasized in this episode that I think the character, this goes back to the point we were originally making about Rosario. She's too dark, too mysterious, too separated from everything. You kind of see the change a little bit in the end of this episode.
That is true. She brightens up.
She brightens up, and I think that shines through.
I hope that continues. I will say, I know that we as a society have come around on Hayden Christensen, and I still have. It's mixed results for me as far as like actual delivery. Whenever he's back on screen, but you know what? That dude fucking sells the lightsaber shit better than anybody.
Better than anybody.
He's
absolutely.
So fucking
he does the thingy.
He must still do that shit like every day. It's part of his routine.
But you know what? Good on him, because I was like, I don't think we appreciated the physical stuff he's bringing to this role until we got into this show. It's like, oh god, he's so much better than these guys.
Yeah. And I mean, he made her look better too.
Yeah,
I think he's pretty good in this. I think it's probably his best turn as Anakin.
I don't know why when he's in he wasn't in like the more physical flashbacks with the little kid, but why when they're in the space between places is he so smoothed out?
Yeah, they definitely like de-age him.
I don't know why. I don't really feel like he had to be, since I think a point of it is that he's how she perceives him anyway.
Yeah. I do want to take a second to talk about little girl Ahsoka. Y'all know who that is, right?
No.
So it's the girl who played little girl Gamora in Infinity War. It's the daughter in Barbie.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a career she's had.
I know, right?
Well, and it's funny too because at the end of the sequence when Ahsoka sinks into the water, what I thought of was the Soul Gem. What I thought of was Gamora. So that's funny that it was that girl.
She's good too.
She's good. If they wanted to do some live action shit with her, I'm on board.
You could absolutely make a Clone Wars. From what we saw in that bit, I would absolutely watch a Clone Wars movie with the two of them.
Right. Well, 100%.
Yeah.
It is credited the B plot to this episode is just them flying over the water a bunch with nothing happening. I will say
it never really gets annoying though. It's like just enough.
Maybe I love that fucking like old Asian dude is just like the Stan Lee of this universe though. Just in everything.
I've got this friend named Ramel who looks just like him. But it's not, you never want to tell somebody they look like somebody because you don't know if they're going to take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
But, I went through a space of not talking to him. And then, we brought up Mando and he was like, yeah, and there's that guy in there that looks just like me.
It is funny to me that all of the movies and the shows seem to be like Empire is bad.
Right.
Like fascism, authoritarianism, pretty bad. But then every single time they introduce some kind of democracy or bureaucracy, they're terrible at it and they impede the process. I just love this. Like, well, you're not really selling. Look, the Emperor was bad, but he was pretty effective.
It's like that.
Shit got done.
Yeah,
it's like that one episode of Rick and Morty where they abolished the purge and they immediately have to come up with the purge.
Yeah.
Something you said way back that I want to jump in on a bit farther from, but you're talking about how the forgetting the past and moving on and stuff like that. I also want to say that's why The Last Jedi is the better ending to this whole thing than Rise of Skywalker. Come at me, bro.
I agree with you. I don't have to.
I know you agree with me, but the world does not.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to see maybe Thrawn or Ezra at the end of this episode, but
well, first of all, again, with the space whales, I think we needed some exposition on the space whales. I think before we got to them, we needed to know why we were going to them. It was evident in the end, but if you're watching this cold, this is the only episode I didn't watch with Sarah, so I don't know how she would react to that. But it must seem like, what the fuck is going on?
I think there's one line of dialogue about Purgles in intergalactic lanes, but it's not enough. It's
Right.
Who gives a shit?
Um,
I will say that one of the most unbelievable parts of this entire thing is that the military ships wouldn't fire on those space whales as they came directly at them.
I've understood why they haven't done it at the end of any of these other episodes of any of these other shows, but there is absolutely no excuse for when the whales took off of them not doing the fanfare. Like that moment just screamed for it.
Yeah. The only other thing I need to hit on my Lord of the Rings theory is that in the Two Towers, when they see Gandalf for the first time, Aragorn says, "You fell," and Gandalf replies, "Through fire and water." Like literally, that's what happens to Ahsoka.
Right.
She's in a lightsaber fight. That's the fire. She falls in the ocean. That's water.
Well, I mean, and Dave Filoni is not opposed to adapting things that he likes. He did a Seven Samurai episode of Clone Wars. He did a Seven Samurai episode again of Mando. There's a Mutiny on the Bounty of Clone Wars. Where they actually say, "So it's mutiny." So I mean,
I think it's not, and it's not a bad choice,
Right.
right? Like Star Wars is not science fiction; it's fantasy,
right,
in space,
right.
and it's probably the most fantasy story ever told.
Right.
So why not retell it? A few years ago, there was like I don't remember what day, but there was like a drawing that he used to just like tweet out pictures that he would like hand draw, and it was Gandalf and Ahsoka standing side by side, and it was like people thought I died too, and yeah, it's just Ahsoka's Gandalf to
Right.
him. And if you don't like Lord of the Rings, you probably won't like this
Right.
show, but it is a direct adaptation.
Right.
Look, you've made some very compelling cases for Ahsoka as Gandalf, so I'm not going to argue with you.
I like the show so far. I think it's better than Transformers. I don't think it's perfect, but what I do like about it is that it's Star Wars that is entertaining to me and that I can watch with my children. And that I feel like I haven't had in a while.
Here's my final question on it. This is very good. I liked it a lot better than Transformers. Would we like it more if it was animated?
No.
I think I would. I think I'd like it more if it was animated because the recaps could have had more stuff and you could have felt the connection to all of them.
I'm going to make my counter argument off one scene and one scene alone.
Okay.
In the flashbacks, it makes it very real that the Jedi sent children to fight their wars.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Like way more than it ever
Like
did.
that 100% looks like a child more than animated Ahsoka did. That's true.
That's it. You got anything to add?
No, I mean, look, it's impossible for me to say, live action versus animated because I have such a soft spot for animation. So of course I'd fucking love to see it animated.
But you haven't watched Rebels.
But I haven't watched Rebels either, so you know what? I don't know. It's probably fine. I don't have anything additional to say on the show. It's fine. I wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have made it past the first episode if we weren't doing this podcast. I am glad that I made it past the first episode.
It gets better.
It does get better. But it's still it's okay.
And I do think like in light of where you are in like 5 episodes in, like it kind of like justifies the pacing a little bit better early on because there are some moments again that I didn't really like because I thought they were like a little exposition heavy or something you should already know. And then once you get to a point where you're like, okay, everyone's caught up. Now this is what's happening. Like maybe it makes it better, but those first that first day, I was like, we'll see where we go from here.
What the show needs is Jar Jar Binks.
I think Jar Jar's coming back at some point. I don't know when.
I would also not mind seeing Jar Jar in this. Maybe, I mean, my problem with the Ahsoka Anakin reunion was my same problem with the episode where Luke was on the same scene with Ahsoka. I wanted more. That was the thing. I need some exposition. I need you to tell me what you guys have talked about and what you haven't. And maybe we'll get that if Jar Jar ever shows up. Jar Jar is the guy who was there from the very beginning.
Yep.
I would love to hear him tell the story of the fall of Anakin Skywalker and Jar Jar speak.
That would be great. Do we think that is Anakin Skywalker?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I have theories, but I don't think you'll ever know.
Well, I mean, we're probably going to do the other half, right?
Yeah.
What's our theories on what's our guesses on where this is going?
I really have. I think I really don't anticipate this will be tied up in a bow.
I think my theory is this ends on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger is that Ezra's gone to the dark side.
Yeah, I do think.
I think it specifically ends on the Matrix 2 cliffhanger. He's on the ship with him. You think everything's fine, and you find out he's gone to the dark side.
Ezra's always been tempted by the dark
right.
side. Which maybe that'll come as a bit more of a shock to people if you haven't watched Rebels.
Right.
But there's a whole season about Maul calling him his apprentice.
Right.
I definitely think that's possible. And what has he been doing this whole time? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, has he been on the run with Thrawn, or does
Right.
Thrawn, being the genius that he is, convinced him?
And part of the Thrawn story is that he has a dark Jedi on his
Mhm.
payroll. It could be him.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no chance that they're going to introduce Thrawn in like one episode and then like solve it the
Right.
next
Yeah.
episode. You know, this is obviously leading to a grander story with Thrawn. So yeah, it makes sense that they
I mean, the grander story with Thrawn is that he's trying to clone Palpatine.
Yeah.
Right.
That is the grander story. That is what Heir to the Empire is about. That's how they're going to fix the sequel trilogy. My other controversial hot take. You said I was a Shinti, real name Mara Jade.
Right on.
I hope not. I know I said I turned around on her, but I didn't turn around on her.
I think, hey, you know what? She's an evil Force user who's serving the Empire. I know a very lonely Jedi out there.
Yeah, all right.
I'm both on and not on board.
Yeah.
For that. I would love that twist, but I don't know.
I don't think it will happen.
Yeah.
It's my hot take. But yeah, I don't think there will be a bow. I don't think this is really going to end. Probably end on a cliffhanger.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely think we'll get more than one episode of Thrawn. I'd imagine he's probably going to be in the next one.
Mm.
Doesn't it feel cheap that all of the TV show is essentially just a pipeline to a movie or another TV show?
I mean, we kind of always knew that was going to happen.
Guess so, but I feel like it's not improving Disney Plus's reputation for producing optional content that's just in between the big stuff.
Yeah, but I agree with the point you're making. But have they really ever tried to market it as optional? Do you think? I don't know.
I mean, does any corporation ever try to market anything as optional?
They want you
Yeah.
to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because going all the way back to Mandalorian season 1, they were like, "Are we ever going to see this guy in a movie?" And Jon Favreau's like, "I hope so." Like, surely it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
First 5. I can't believe we're doing 2 fucking parts on this. First 5 episodes of Ahsoka.
Like you're dying to go to the movies and see something.
I mean, that's fair. There's not anything in there. Right? I'd go see Ninja Turtles again.
I just want to know what you enjoy anymore, Joseph.
Yeah.
Is there things? Are there?
Probably. We'll talk about things and what we're watching. But on that note, what have we been watching?
I haven't watched anything like legitimately. Football's back, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting. The Jets are a lot more likable now.
Yep. After all 5 episodes of Hard Knocks of being like, Aaron Rodgers is cool, we promise. He made it 75 seconds, and his season is
over.
Done. We're just really an entire offseason of drama to end in the first minute and a half of the season. Incredible. I went and saw live sports this weekend. I went and saw the Braves on Saturday retire one of my childhood favorite players' number, Andrew Jones, and that was fun and cool. They lost, but whatever. They're still the best team in baseball. And then on Saturday, I went to the opening day for the Falcons, which was stressful for like the first half, and then the second half was pretty dominant, which, if you're anything about the Falcons, that was a shocker.
Really, y'all's cycle there.
That's not what we're known for, but I'll be happy to take it if that's the new standard. But sports live in person with a crowd, better than Transformers.
Sure.
I enjoy it, but that's really it. I could talk about Critical Role, but I'm not going to.
I haven't watched a lot either. I've been rewatching Clone Wars, which is something I start and stop and start and stop. But I'm up to season 4 right now, and I've always said those seasons, they're like the Harry Potter books. They age with the kid that's watching them. Like the second one's a little more mature, the third one's a little more mature. The fourth one, for the first like 4 or 5 episodes, seems like it's backsliding. It's like there's 2 Jar Jar Binks episodes. There's a whole 3PO and R2 arc. Like they're going back for the kids in this. But then it slides into. You guys remember the battle on Umbra? The one I just referenced it. The Mutiny on the Bounty episode. Shit is so dark. Like an 11-year-old watching that may not be able to handle that shit. Like I don't think I would have been 11. Like it is so. The good guys sometimes are not good guys.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes it's. I don't know. I think the first time I watched that on Clone Wars, I may have just coasted through those episodes, and I really watched it a lot of time. Really good shit, but really heavy for some kids.
Yeah.
Did you finish your Rebels rewatch? Because you were rewatching Rebels too, right?
I'm kind of doing both at once, but I've decided to focus on
Clone Wars.
power through, do Rebels, because I also have never watched the second season of
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch, so I just want to get through all that.
That's
So
good too.
so hopefully 2 or 3 shows from now I'll have an update regarding that. I've also been doing a rewatch of something else, and I'm not even going to start on until I'm closer to being done.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
Okay.
You know.
I've watched a lot of things, so I'm just gonna pare it down as best I can here. The wife and my wife recently read. There's a novelization of Achilles, which is like a story from his perspective of kind of the Iliad and whatever. She was into it. It's like, have you ever seen Troy? And she said no. So we watched Troy, which you guys fucking know.
It's like the third time you've talked about it this year.
I don't give a shit. I love Troy.
Sword and sandal epic.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody says I love Troy is really saying, man, Brad Pitt's so fucking handsome.
So he is for sure. My wife did not like it. Well, she didn't dislike it, but
it's not good.
I disagree. It is good.
I don't think it's not good, but I don't know if it's good.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I will say that it's fun. I don't think it's good. I don't think you can sit here for the last 40 minutes and be like, this is fine. The acting is fine. And then see Orlando Bloom in that movie and be like, that's an Academy Award winner right there.
Touche. I mean, Orlando Bloom is the worst part of most movies this season. But so my wife didn't like it because the book that she read follows kind of what I'd say is a pretty recent familiar interpretation, which is that Achilles and Patroclus are lovers.
Right.
They're very close in the Iliad. There's not really the same kind of labels in Greece. So whatever. It makes a lot of sense.
Right.
I think that's fine. The whole impetus of the his freak out and murder and all those stuff is because he loves Patroclus so much and he can't live in a world where he gets killed or whatever. Which I totally get. Like I get why that's the popular interpretation. Whatever. This movie was made in 2003. And despite the leaps and bounds, I think that the LGBTQ plus community has made in the last 20 years, it's very apparent that 2003 was not there yet. Like, Will and Grace may have started airing around then, but we weren't like.
I mean, it was not like a decade before then.
Was it? Yeah, it was. It was like 90s. You're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that.
I think one of the things could have been there. That could have been a Brad Pitt veto. He's like, look, I've already done my long hair homoerotic pretty boy thing. And it's within a decade of that.
Yeah.
I think I think Interview with the Vampire comes out in like 96 or something. So
it just cracks me up because, like, again, the story that it's based on and the story that it has to tell is Achilles is so aggrieved that his in this one cousin air quotes Patroclus is killed in the battle that he like loses his fucking mind. And I feel like to offset that, every single shot that Brad Pitt is not in armor, he's completely naked and surrounded by 4 completely naked women. He's like, no, I swear to God, he's straight, guys. It's fine. It's a great movie. Watch Groundhog Day, also a great movie.
Yeah, no argument there.
Yeah, I don't even have anything to say about that. I will say anime's been bad, which is why I haven't been talking about it this season. They've gone to the second season of the Chinese anime that's essentially just Quantum Leap called Link Click, which I talked about before. I like the first season. Combined 2 of the best opening songs that are bangers, and also I'm going to say 2 seasons of bangers, period, but also 2 seasons of bangers that are both songs about the plot of the show, which I love.
Right.
But they've decided to take a more action bent in the second season, which I don't have a problem with. I think that's fine. But it is funny because they've just made everybody good at kung fu. There's a police detective. He's a kung fu expert.
Right.
Okay, maybe he's had training. There's a beat cop. He's a police expert. I mean, he's a kung fu expert. Fine, that makes sense. Photoshop owner, kung fu expert. Old man, kung fu expert. Old man's father, also a kung fu expert. I don't know why everybody's fucking good at kung fu in the show. I mean, great action sequences, but I don't know. It's a lot of kung fu. It's probably more unbelievable than like the time travel powers in this show.
I'm going to defend this thing I haven't seen by saying we loved that exact premise about Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, that's a good
That,
point.
like, we're like probably 30, 40 minutes of the movie before we find out, oh shit, this is a kung fu universe.
Yeah.
Everybody fights all the time.
That is pretty much what it's like. So, yeah. Anyway, link click better than Transformers. And I think that's it.
Cool. You guys see they announced the finale of Attack on Titan?
When?
It's like 5 weeks from now.
Okay,
First week of November.
I started a rewatch months ago, and then I realized I didn't have to work that hard. So I slowed down. So now I need to finish up.
Well, I think the part, or at least some of the parts of the final season that are already out, are finally dubbed in English. So I'll finally start watching some.
Oh, you're not caught up yet?
I'm not. No,
Mm.
I haven't watched any of the new season because when they first came out, they were just sub. And
But what is the new season?
It's not even a new season. It's
right,
just an
it's like 4 mini movies,
so
right?
it's like part 2 or something? I don't know. There's you might be mistaken. There's been one episode to come out this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'll be caught up by next week.
Yeah.
They're essentially 2 mini movies
Yeah.
that they're
Okay.
going to shove together. Which we will do an Attack on Titan episode when this is all over.
Right.
Attack on Titan. Is it good?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Anyway, next week, do we want to do The Flash or is there something?
Oh, that would be fun.
I'm
Yeah.
good with anything else. I don't love The Flash either, but I will watch.
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't watched.
I mean,
I have things I need to talk about.
spoilers. I think it's going to be fun to talk about, but not because it's good.
Okay, that'll be fine. So yeah, next week The Flash. But in the meantime, thank you guys for listening. Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. If you want to get in touch with us and tell us how much Star Wars homework you've done, you can reach us at realphonies@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies, on Instagram at real_phonies. Thanks, Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys later.
Later.